Hello, hello. So, what do you want to talk about today? Is it books? Because we can talk about books if you'd like. I wanted to talk about this little trend that's been going around the book community for the past couple of years, I think, and that's the 10 before the end. So as the end of the year approaches, you pick 10 books that you would like to complete before the new year begins. So yeah, I do have up here, this is where I keep my 24 books in 2024. If you see the pages, that means I have read this book. And if you see the spine still, that means I have not read this book. So I'm not doing great. Let's just be honest. So there is a couple of reasons. This one I discovered, The Impact of a Single Event by R.L. Pendergast. This one I discovered there is a printing error, and it's right in the middle of the book. So let's see if I can find it. Oh good. Oh good, okay. I didn't even realize that, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, cool. So what's happened here is the text, this chunk of papers has been flipped somehow. I don't understand how that's happened. I don't understand bookbinding apparently, because it actually works out though, because this is page 136 and this is page 137 and the upside down ends on 184 and then it begins 185. So if this chunk was just flipped, once I get to 136, I'll just have to read this way until I get to page 184 and then continue reading this way. Okay, so that was why I hadn't read this one yet, which now I know I can. In terms of reasons I haven't read the other books, there are no reasons, really. It's just that I'm a slow reader and I have a hard time turning off the multitasking mindset and just like sitting and reading, which is why I've gravitated so much to audiobooks, because they allow me to do other things while I read. So yeah, I don't really have any good reasons. I highly doubt that I would read all of these by the end of the year. I'll just tell you that right now. However, this one book problems, am I right? This one, me and Katie, if you guys know Katie at Paperbacks and Ponytails and Paperbacks, not quite sure. Katie is the biggest fan of The Princess Bride. So her and I are actually going to buddy read it together. It has been a few years since me and Katie buddy read, so it's going to be super fun to buddy read this with her, being that it's her favorite. I hope that'll lend itself to helping me love it more. I don't have any preconceived ideas whether I'll like this or not. I like the movie well enough. It's not a favorite movie, but I like it well enough, so there's potential here for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. So this is going to be, I guess, book one of the 10 before the end. Like I said, these other ones are definite contenders. Like, right off the bat, ones I'm really interested in, I will have to say would be The Impact of a Single Event. But again, it's the making time to read physically that make me question if I can get any of these in, you know? So yeah, I don't know. This one I feel like is really important. Praying for Your Husband from Head to Toe, a daily guide to scripture-based prayer. I'm not a good devotional reader, so I would just read this as a book and not like on day 9 you read this and then on day 10 you read this. You know, I'm not that kind of reader. I can't really do devotionals, so I would just read this as a nonfiction. But I do think that one would be important to read. This book I had saved to read with my parents' chickens that they have. They have 9 chickens. This book is called The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly by Sun Mi Huang. And that was my goal with this book. I picked this book up with the goal to read it in front of the chickens. So I did try it one time this summer to read this in front of them, and I don't know. they're just so skittish that they don't even like come close. I wish that they were a little bit more friendly, and then it would be more fun to read to them. But they like are off on the other side of the chicken coop wherever I sit. They pick the opposite side of the coop. But so I don't think I'll read this before the end of the year because it just doesn't scream winter to me. So that's not going to be one that I even attempt. I may attempt it again next year with the chickens. We'll see. I mean, I think this is a placeholder for a Mrs. Jeffries, which is very likely. I have not read a Mrs. Jeffries in quite a few months, so I am due for one. I think this one is like far into the series, like farther than I'm at. So I would just read whatever I'm next. So this one, I guess, would be, if it just represents a Mrs. Jeffries, then I think we're good with that. I mean, there's so many here that I've really been curious about for a while, which is why I've selected them for my 24 and 2024. But yeah, in terms of like reading physically, I don't know. I do want to mention that I am currently reading The 7 Deaths of Edwin Hardcastle. This is my yearly reread. Every November I read this book. So if anyone has ever been interested in this book, it is very weird, outside the usual. It's not Christian at all. But if you're interested in like a mind-bending mystery, let me know next November and we can read it together. But I do have 2 books borrowed right now from the library that I'm waiting to finish Evelyn Hardcastle so I can get to these other books. So the one is Finding Baby Holly, and I have to say I'm a big sucker for trying books that have my name in them. So if you remember, recently Stephen King released a book called Holly, and I was like, dude, it's Stephen King, which I don't really touch Stephen King books ever. I've never read one. And I'm not really interested in it either because I think he goes farther in many respects than I want to go. But it was called Holly. I can't not try it. So I did try it. I DNF'd it because of content. But so this one, Finding Baby Holly, is actually written by Holly. So I don't know if it's a little bit of a biography. I don't think, I'm pretty sure it's fiction, but I'm not sure if maybe she like is using her life story to like infuse the fiction story. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna find out when I get to it. But Finding Baby Holly by Holly Marie. And then The Lost Boys of Barlow Theatre by Jamie Jo Wright. I'm not really a big fan of dual timeline books, so I don't read a ton of Jamie Jo Wright, but I do have some buzzwords, and like this circus theater kind of vibe is definitely a buzzword for me. So I'm interested because of that. The cover looks incredible. So those are 2 books that I have currently borrowed on the Libby app. And on Hoopla, I have 1 borrow left for November. So I have like, what do we got here? 5 days until I have to decide which book I'm going to be borrowing for that one. So let's just go through and borrow one right now. I think that'll be fun to find one with you guys to borrow. So maybe I will, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try screen recording. Let's try this right now. Screen record. There we go. I'm going to try screen recording. You'll see up here if it worked. If it didn't work, I'll have to figure something else out. But these are the books that I have on my list of books that I want to try. Now, I do really want to try Winter's Maiden by Morgan L. Bussey because I really love the Ravenwood saga by her. It's like my favorite trilogy. However, I was talking to Chantel at Chantel Reads All Day. I was talking to her about it because she recently read it, and the way that she talked about it was kind of like, maybe I need to wait until more come out because I'm not going to be satisfied to have to wait till the second book comes out, you know? And I think that would be fairly accurate, because the way that I read the Ravenwood saga was like bang, 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 bang. Like I just had to get through it because it was so, so good. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to put a pin in Winter's Maiden only because I want to be able to continue the story after this one is done. So I am super jazzed about that one. What else have we got here? Shadow of Glass. Do you guys know anything about Shadow of Glass? It's a lamplight. A deliciously gothic story of wishes and curses, a dark fairy tale set against Victorian backdrop full of lace and smoke. Interesting. Doesn't give any indication if it's a Christian book or not. Oh, there is that new one that everyone keeps talking about, Wormwood something, right? I'm gonna quickly check. Is it Wormwood? Wormwood Alley, maybe? Ah, Wormwood Abbey. Okay, I think it's gonna be this one, you guys, because I've seen so many people flip out about this book. So we're gonna hit borrow, and away we go. Bob's your uncle. Okay, so I'm gonna also, I guess, read that one before the end of the year because I have it borrowed now. So that was really fun. I think this is kind of a fun way to like pick a book with you guys. I don't know, I liked it. Let me know if you liked it. So, I mean, it's not a proper 10 books chosen because of the reasons I've already mentioned. But I've kind of given you an idea of like where I'm at. If you would like to submit an idea for a book you think I would love that I should read before the end of the year, because you guys, 5-star books, I don't think I have any new reads that are 5-star. Like, I've done a lot of rereading this year, and a lot of those were 5-star books that I've reread because they were so good. But for new books, I don't think I have any, which is horrible. It's horrible. I need to find, like, what book is gonna represent this year now when I think back to 2024, which is like, yes, I'm so glad I found this book. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm blanking. I could be blanking, you guys. That is totally possible because my brain don't function very well lately. So, yeah, I don't know. It will be interesting to see how the end of the year ends, I guess. Let me know if there's something really pressing in your TBR that you are planning to read by the end of 2024. I'm really interested to hear what you guys are reading and prioritizing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It's so fun to have you guys in my living room and we can visit. So yeah, I will chat with you guys in the comments below, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!